Hello everyone, myself Garima. This session is for GNM second year and today we will discuss about spina bifida. Introduction. Spina bifida is a neural tube defect. There is an incomplete closure of the vertebra and neural tube. Spina bifida is one of the most common anomalies of neural tube development seen in infants. It is also known as myelodysplasia. Firstly, what is neural tube defects? Neural tube defects are the severe birth defects of the brain and spine. What is neural tube? Neural tube are the hollow structure from which the brain and spinal cord form. What is vertebrae? Vertebrae are the small bones that are connected to form the column of bones down the middle of spine. सो स्पाइना बाइफिडा एक न्यूरल ट्यूब डिफेक्ट है जिसमें वर्टिब्रे एंड न्यूरल ट्यूब्स का इनकम्प्लीट क्लोजर होता है, कम्प्लीटली क्लोज नहीं होते हैं स्पाइना बाइफिडा डिफेक्ट में. स्पाइना बाइफिडा डिफेक्ट वन ऑफ द मोस्ट कॉमन एनोमलीज है न्यूरल ट्यूब डेवलपमेंट की, जो आपको देखने को मिलेगी इन्फेंट्स में. एंड स्पाइना बाइफिडा को हम माइलोडिस्प्लेजिया भी बोलते हैं. Definition. Spina bifida is a malformation of spine in which posterior portion of lamina or vertebra fail to close with or without defective development of spinal cord. Incidence rate. Spina bifida is the most common development defect of central nervous system which is occurring in about 1 or 2 per 1000 live births. It may occur in any area of spine but most commonly occurs in the lumbosacral area. Etiological factors. First is genetic factor. In this, a child of parents with spina bifida carries 15 times more probability of inheriting the defect. Second is maternal age. In this, the disorder is twice more common in pregnant mothers over 35 years of age or below 20 years of age. Third is environmental. In this, the radiations increases the risk of defective neural tube development. Last is diet. In this, folic acid deficiency in the diet of pregnant mother increases the risk of meningomyelocele in the baby. Classification. Spina bifida is of two types. First is spina bifida occulta. Second is spina bifida cystica. Spina bifida cystica is further classified into two types. First is meningocele and second is myelomeningocele. Spina bifida occulta. Spina bifida occulta is a mild form of spina bifida. It is the most frequent and most benign neural tube defect. It is a defect which results from failure of formation of bony arc around the spinal cord, but spinal cord and meninges are normal. There is no protrusion of the meninges. Spina bifida occulta mild form है spina bifida की और ये मोस्ट फ्रीक्वेंट एंड मोस्ट बिनाइन न्यूरल ट्यूब डिफेक्ट है. इस डिफेक्ट में क्या होता है, स्पाइनल कॉर्ड एंड मेनिंजेस नॉर्मल होती हैं बट स्पाइनल कॉर्ड की सराउंडिंग्स में जो बोनी आर्क्स होती हैं वो फॉर्म नहीं हो पाती हैं इन स्पाइना बाइफिडा ओकल्टा में. These images are showing the spina bifida occulta. नेक्स्ट इज स्पाइना बाइफिडा occulta के मोस्ट ऑफ द केसेस एसिम्टोमेटिक होते हैं बट सम ऑफ द चिल्ड्रंस प्रेजेंट विद cutaneous lesions over the defect. What is cutaneous lesions? Cutaneous lesions are also known as skin lesions. It is a part of the skin that has an abnormal growth or appearance compared to the skin around it. As tuft of hairs. What is tuft of hairs? Tuft of hairs are cluster of hairs. This image is showing the tuft of hairs in spina bifida occulta baby. Second is nevus. What is nevus? Nevus is a birthmark or a mole on the skin. Then lipoma. Lipoma are the fatty lump. Then hemangioma. Hemangioma is a benign tumor which is made up of blood vessels that typically occurs as a purple or reddish in color. Then dermal lesions. Dermal lesions refers to any change in the normal condition of the skin like dermoid cyst. What is dermoid cyst? Dermoid cyst is a sac-like growth that is present at birth. It contains structure such as hair, fluid or skin glands that can be found on or in the skin. Dermoid cysts grow slowly and are not tender unless ruptured. They usually occur on the face, inside the skull or on the lower back. Then last is intramedullary lipoma. Intramedullary lipoma are the benign tumors of spinal cord which produces a neurological deficit. Next is clinical features. The symptomatic children of spina bifida occulta usually present after 6 to 8 years of age with any of the following. First is a dimple in the skin or growth of hair over malformed vertebra. Second is progressive deformity of the foot, like foot weakness. Third is disturbances of bladder and bowel sphincter. Fourth one is alteration in the gait. Fifth one is a trophic ulcer on the toes and feet. Next is spina bifida cystica. Spina bifida cystica is a defect in the closure of posterior vertebral arc with protrusion of spinal cord and meninges through the defect. Spina bifida cystica एक ऐसा डिफेक्ट है जिसमें स्पाइनल कॉर्ड और मेनिंजेस जो होती हैं वो प्रोट्रूड आउट होती हैं थ्रू द डिफेक्ट. स्पाइना बाइफिडा सिस्टिका इज फर्दर क्लासिफाइड इनटू टू टाइप्स. फर्स्ट इज meningocele and second is myelomeningocele. Meningocele. This is a moderate form of spina bifida. It is a sac-like herniation through the bony malformation containing meninges and cerebrospinal fluid. The covering of the sac may be thin and membranous. Meningomyelocele is a moderate form of spina bifida in which the meninges protrude through the opening in the spinal cord and a fluid-filled sac is visible outside the back area. The sac does not contain the spinal cord or nerves. This defect may occur anywhere on the spinal cord and the covering of the sac may be thin or membranous. These are the images which are showing the meningocele. Meningocele is generally found in the lower back, that is a lumbosacral region, and it may be also found in the thoracic region and in the skull. In this, the spinal cord and nerve roots are usually normal. Then the meningocele sac should be protected from the infection and injury. The infant should be positioned on the abdomen to avoid pressure on the sac, and if the sac is not covered with skin, it should be protected with the sterile moist dressing. Then clinical features of meningoceles. The meningocele child may present, first is weakness of the legs or lack of sphincter control. Second is as a skin or membrane covering is thin. Cerebrospinal fluid leakage may be present and there is a chance of infections. And third is associated anomalies like hydrocephalus may be present. Then myelomeningocele. This is a severe form of spina bifida. It is a condition in which the spinal cord and nerves develop outside the body and contain a fluid-filled sac that is visible outside of the back area. Meningomyeloceles are covered by a thin membranes. माइलोमेनिंगोसील सीवियर फॉर्म है स्पाइना बाइफिडा की, जिसमें होता क्या है, स्पाइनल कॉर्ड और नर्व्स जो होती हैं वो डेवलप होती हैं आउटसाइड द बॉडी एंड कंटेन अ फ्लूइड फिल्ड सैक दैट इज विजिबल आउटसाइड द बैक एरिया. मेनिंगोमाइलोसील आर कवर्ड बाय अ थिन मेम्ब्रेन और ये वन ऑफ द मोस्ट कॉमन लीजन्स है जो आपको 90 to 95% बेबीज़ में देखने को मिलेगा. एंड myelomeningocele कैन बी प्रेजेंट एनीवेयर ऑन द मिड लाइन इन द बैक, बट द lumbosacral area is a most common site. These are the images which are showing the myelomeningocele. Clinical features seen in 1 out of every 800 infants. Clinical manifestation of myelomeningocele depends on the location and extent of the defect. The higher the deformity, the more neurological deficit will be present. First is a round raised poorly epithelialized herniated mass is present over the vertebral column, mainly in the lumbosacral region. The next is loss of motor control and sensation occurs below the level of lesion. First is a low thoracic lesion may cause total flaccid paralysis. Second is a sacral lesion leads to weakness of the lower limbs. Then next is spasticity and hyperactive reflexes may be present in the thoracic or cervical myelomeningocele. Then bowel and bladder may or may not be affected. There may be fecal or urinary incontinence. Then later in older children, contractures of joints. What is contracture? Contracture is a permanent shortening of joints may develop. Scoliosis may develop. Scoliosis is a condition in which the spine curves to the left or the right. And kyphosis may develop. What is kyphosis? Kyphosis is a condition in which baby's spine curves outwards too much. Then back pain, respiratory distress, recurrent skin breakdown, and difficulty in movement. Then there is a risk of infection. There is a risk or infection of CNS and rupture of sac. And this is the image which is showing the difference between the spina bifida occulta, meningocele, and myelomeningocele. First is spina bifida occulta. Spina bifida occulta is a mild form of spina bifida in which the spinal cord and surrounding structures remains inside the body, but the backbones, vertebrae in the lower back area fail to form normally. There may be a hairy patch, dimple, or birthmark over the area of the defect. Other times, there may be no abnormality in the area. Then, second is meningocele. Meningocele is a moderate form of spina bifida in which the meninges protrude through the opening in the spinal cord and a fluid filled sac is visible outside the back area. The sac does not contain the spinal cord or nerves. The defect may occur anywhere on the spinal cord. Last is myelomeningocele. Myelomeningocele is a severe form of spina bifida in which the spinal cord and nerves develop outside the body and contain a fluid-filled sac that is visible outside of the back area. Meningomyeloceles are covered by a thin membranes. Next is diagnostic evaluation. Prenatal diagnosis of neural tube defects is possibly by using following tests. First is maternal ultrasound. Second is fetal MRI. Third is amniocentesis. What is amniocentesis? Amniocentesis is a medical test in which some amniotic fluid is taken from the pregnant woman's womb to find out if the baby has particular illnesses or health problems. If a child is having a spina bifida, then amniocentesis test reveals an increase in alpha fetoprotein, a fetal specific gamma globulin in the amniotic fluid. This test should be done between 14th to 16th week of gestation in all the pregnant females who are not who are at risk of spina bifida. Next is diagnosis after birth is made on the following basis. First is neonatal examination, second is CT scan, third is MRI, fourth one is a laboratory test like urine test, renal function test, WBC's count, and this is CRP test. This is not CPR, this is CRP. Then next is neurological assessment. Neurological assessment is done to detect motor and sensory response. Then developmental assessment. Developmental assessment are done to detect any delay in milestones. Next is management. The management of spina bifida depends on the nature and extent of defect. Usually no intervention is required for spina bifida occulta. But for spina bifida cystica, surgery is required. The name of the surgery is laminectomy. A laminectomy is a type of back surgery which is used to relieve compression on the spinal cord. During this procedure, doctor will remove the lamina. What is lamina? The lamina is a part of the bone that forms the vertebral arc in the spine. Doctor will also remove the bone spurs. These structures can put pressure on the spinal cord or nerve roots. This can cause mild to severe back pain. Second is numbness or weakness in the legs, difficulty in the walking, difficulty in controlling bladder or bowel movement. A laminectomy is done to relieve these causes. Then closure of the defect or removal of the sac is done within 24 to 48 hours of birth. Then a coordinated multidisciplinary team approach is required to maximize the physical and intellectual potential of each affected child. A team of neurologist, neurosurgeon, orthopedic surgeon, urologist, primary care provider, nurse, speech therapist, and physiotherapist need to work together for managing the child. Nursing management. Nursing care focuses on early detection of spina bifida through newborn assessment and observation of neurological function of the extremities. Once spina bifida is diagnosed and repaired, nursing interventions include the following. First is assess the condition of the myelomeningocele sac. Second is assess the level of neurologic involvement. Then assess the elimination. In this, assess the urine and anal reflexes. Then monitor the head circumference and fontanelles at least daily. Then protect the child against infections because breakdown of the sac leaves the spinal cord open to the environment. Then area must be kept clean, especially from urine and feces. Then next is diaper is not used, but sterile gauze with antibiotic solution may be placed over the sac. Then avoid pressure on sac. Then maintain function through proper position. In this, place a child in a prone position, hips slightly flexed and abducted. Trendelenburg slope to reduce the spinal fluid pressure. Then, because of the restriction in position, feed child in prone position, establish eye contact, and encourage parents to visit and feed the child. Next is pre-operative care. Pre-operative care include first one is prepare the child and parents for surgery. Second is obtain informed written consent from the parents. Third is explain the type of surgery. Then fourth one is correct the fluid deficits. Fifth one is correct the anemia. Sixth is keep the client empty stomach at least for 8 hours. Then seventh is check hemoglobin and hematocrit level. Then check and record weight, vital signs. And last one is carefully document all pre-operative procedures and teachings. In post-operative care include first is examine the skin for any leakage of cerebrospinal fluid. Then second is place the child in a warm cradle without clothes. Then third one is change baby's position frequently to prevent skin breakdown and pressure sores. Then fourth one is change the dressing every 4 hourly. Moisten the dressing frequently with saline. Then fifth is protect the area from contamination with urine and feces. Then sixth is provide adequate nutrition and monitors baby's nutrition. Seventh one is promote activity and mobility through proper position of the child and passive range of motion exercises. Then eighth is check and record vital signs frequently. Ninth is assess the infant for change in the condition and for the presence of complication signs of shock must be immediately reported. Then tenth is assess age appropriate growth and development. In parent teaching, teach parents essential aspects of infants care are first is encourage them for questions and expression of feelings. Then second is sign and symptoms of intracranial pressure or hydrocephalus infection. Third is initiate communication with members of multidisciplinary team. Then last is realistic expectations for long-term outcome and abilities of the child. थैंक यू।